And that is mistake. And then of course we get stuck kind of in these views. And this is why we are not happy. So a mind that is fully awakened sees this. Okay? That the way I see Doron has not so much to do with Doron. The way I see Doron with an open heart is because she has never been nasty to me yet. I hope not, eh? So this is why. So this is why I look at her with an open heart, because I don't have to be afraid of her. I think, yeah. But then when we open up like this, and this is where a lot of hurt comes from, because then we become totally unrealistic. I expect her. I just take you as an example. You are very kind, so I expect her to be kind to me all the time, because that's what I have decided. I have decided she is my friend. She has no right to scream at me or to not do what I ask her to do or whatever. And when she does, then I get hurt. Yeah? This is what we do. I mean, we somehow with our crazy mind, we manipulate people, or we create a person out there which does not exist. And then we expect that poor person out there to be the way I want her to be without telling her how I want her to be. Now you know how I want you to be. You see what I mean? Okay? So an awakened mind sees all these games, doesn't have a separate ego anymore. It has an I, like you might have heard for the Buddhists, or the little bit Buddhists, you might have heard that Buddhism talks a lot about emptiness, selflessness, okay? So it doesn't mean that nothing exists. It means that things do not exist the way that they appear. You do have an I, you do have a self. Let go of you. There's not that one, not that super ego I or whatever it's called. Just a label, a name that we give. Like in simple forms, and I know now the Mahayana Buddhists there, the philosophers are going to jump, but could she sleeping? Because it's not the highest view, okay, what I'm presenting here now. It's more the Vaibhashika and Tantrika view, that your I is the combination of body and mind, that's it. There's nothing separate. There's nothing independently like more than the body and the mind. This you can call the person or the I. It's not the highest view, okay? But then, because we add something. We add a super I, a super I that is more than the body and the mind, yeah? When like, let's say, okay, Doron is not kind to me anymore, she throws the camera at me, which I wouldn't be unhappy, because I don't like just things sticking in my face, but anyway, I bear it. My enemy. So anyway, so she throws the camera at me, and then it's like there's not just body and mind reacting, there's an I who comes and says, how dare she do this to me? Now if Shoshana has been the person I don't like since ever, and the camera flies this way, then the ear says, woo, you see what I mean? It's the same action, it's throwing something at somebody. But so what does not exist is that I that comes up that feels separate. Maybe we have time to do a reflection on it, so that we feel what I'm talking about. Because we will meditate on negative emotions. And every time it comes, every time there is a negative emotion, and again we need to define them, it gets narrow in here, and you feel as if there's something separate from body and mind sitting in here, a real I, a real me. That one does not exist. And if we, intellectually, we understand very quickly. Experientially, like, nothing, Here we know it, the Buddhists. Yeah? We even know the highest view of the Buddhists. Mahayana, Madhyamika, Prasangika, Kipur. So we know it, but then we don't react as if we know it. Yeah? It's like, like the cloth on the chair. Who put that there? This whole thing. But the good thing is when you start practicing, I should have written an email, we put the cloth there because it was wet. You see, they had expected, because they were not in the last course, and they had expected that the storeroom will be exactly the way they left it. It's usually not the same people who put the boxes back, so then you have to look for it. And then something was not where it should be, and then this immediate reaction, and you can feel the tightness. Yeah? And where does it come from? From expectations. That everything is the way I want it to be. And then the day can be spoiled. And then you carry out this bad mood, and somebody else comes and says something, or somebody says, "Oh, I didn't register for the course, but I'm here." Oh, poor person. I decided to come last minute. So then if such a person comes on top of all the others who are here, and then the whole thing's up. But when you're relaxed and open, you say, "Okay, please sit over there, we'll see if we have a space for you," and then that would be the normal reaction. To say, "Okay, you haven't registered, it's okay, but you're here, but you have to wait until the people who have registered like this." But if you're already not in a good mood and you're stressed, and stress is really, really, really such an enemy for us to be happy. Frustration and stress. So an awakened mind is never frustrated and is never stressed, because they know everything is just like an illusion, like a dream. They know everything is impermanent, it will also finish. And also their mind is filled with love and compassion, like the love, being happy when somebody else is happy, whether they're their children or their enemy. They don't have enemies. Whether there's somebody who is helping them or somebody's harming them, they see that, they understand this one fact, this one universal fact. It's pretty much the only one. Well, we all have to die also, that's true. But that everybody wants to be happy. And we don't understand this when the heart is closed. We understand it when the heart is open. So for whenever the heart is open, we do whatever we can to make them happy. But when the heart is closed and when it's very narrow in here, this I, the superego, is telling us they don't deserve to be happy. You see, if we want to have a better world where people stop harming each other, we need to have happier people. Because when do we harm others is when we are unhappy, not when we're happy. And by happy I mean spacious, open, everything okay, relaxed, sababa. There's a good word. Yeah. But it's a good word for who? For you? Bruno, you understand sababa? Yeah, okay. So Bruno is from France, by the way. His English is, and he was very curious to see Israeli Jews. How they look, what they say, how they behave. So you better give a good impression. We met in Tahiti many, many years ago. So, and he is Jewish, so this is why he also feels the connection to the country. And so be kind to him. So, if your mind is awakened, then you have an open heart to everybody. And you do whatever is helpful for them and possible for you, you do. And helpful, they talk about being helpful in the long run and not in the short run. Okay? So like that. So this is what actually one wants to attain. So it's not something Buddhist. It's something that everybody wants, isn't it? Wouldn't you want to have an open heart without any fear, 24 hours a day? Wouldn't you see, how many of you have children? Okay. So the love, not so many, we have a lot of young people, nice. Yeah. Childless people, like me. I'm not the only one. So, but what I see with parents, so maybe the parents can relate to what I'm saying much better to that. Your wish for your children to be, or your grandchildren, to be happy is always there. An automatic pilot. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to go you don't need to be obsessive. My children should be happy. My children should be happy. It's there. So whatever you can do to make them happy. But happy also, you have, as a parent, you also have some intelligence. So you're not just ideas. But you also have some intelligence, and you know that, yeah, it would make them happy now to eat all this chocolate, but it's not good for them. So you think about their happiness, like not just now, but you think about their long-term happiness, naturally, with a lot of awareness, with a lot of open heart. When they're not well, you know, the wish to help them to be free from suffering is there. You don't need to kind of sit down and say, oh yeah, may my child be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. It probably suffers because it has created the karma somewhere down the line. You know, I mean, it's not like this. You understand the child is suffering and you do whatever you can. If you can't help the child, you're not running away, you stay there. You are able to bear the suffering of your child. It's not pleasant, but you're able to bear it peacefully when you have noticed there's nothing I can do. And then there's this openness is actually coming, and then you don't burn out. Then you also, it's okay, it's just the sound. Then you don't burn out, isn't it? Yeah. So so that would be for everybody, like a Buddha, then that would be for everybody. So we have this potential. So, but it's covered by our negative tendencies, negative emotions, and so on. I haven't finished with Khenpo Karta Rinpoche. Anyway, so when one says one of these beings coming all the way back, when they leave the body, then they're special beings, and so we have, I think, we have living examples still amongst the Tibetans who have been invaded by the Chinese army and are absolutely not angry at them. They don't see the situation as a good situation. Some actually do, because they say, it made me practice patience and open up my heart towards somebody that has harmed me. And so they're living examples that this is possible, like human beings. So one of them has left his body, so he then needs to be reborn. So for the people who want, for the Buddhists, after the last session today, if you want to read the King of Prayers together, we can read it together. Gajin Rinpoche, they also say to do the prayer to be reborn in Pure Land. So I have it on my tablet or my computer, but I think if we, while we are here, if we do just the King of Prayers, it's okay. Tomorrow in Gajin Rinpoche's place at 3 p.m., which is Arizona, I don't know what time it is here, they do Lam Chöpa, so again, then you probably are already home or still here, so yeah. So this is for the people who know what I'm talking about. Okay, so what we will do also, which is a Buddhist thing at 7:30, is taking what is called the 8 vows, or making 8 promises. And it's a Buddhist thing because they say when you are... Our actions come out of habits and tendencies that come from previous actions. So we need to purify that. So taking vows is a good purification kind of thing. Now, saying for 24 hours, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do this and that. So there's a text that is specifically for that. So if you want to take these vows, you're very welcome to take them without doing the whole ceremony of saying I go for refuge and then the 7 limbs and all that. You can just say for 24 hours I'm not going to do this, 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 this. It's very powerful because it makes us more going through the day more aware. And I know that Jewish people, especially Israeli people, they are very frightened of taking vows when they are thinking that they can't keep them. But you see, even you break these vows, it's okay because it makes you more aware. So if you can keep them 100%, you don't need to take vows. Yeah? You need to take a vow when you still feel that you have these tendencies. So the 8 vows is not to kill, like not even mosquitoes, which some of them are here. In this place, they have mosquitoes. Some, not many, but some. So not to kill, not to steal, not to have any sexual contact That's just for these 24 hours, okay? Not even with yourself. If you have sexual thoughts and whatever, then that's what to do, you know. Try to go into them and see, hey, there's no object, what am I fantasizing about? Maybe then it goes away, I don't know. So no sexual contact, no intoxicants. Then, I know it's a bit strange, no singing and dancing, but it's okay because also with these 2 days that you will be able to survive. Only 1 meal a day. So that's kind of the Buddhist fast. So that would be what, lunch, yeah? We said. So tomorrow that would be lunch, no breakfast. And usually also it's no dinner, but because we take the vows in the evening, you know, we adjust a little bit to the Jewish tradition. So normally we take those in the morning, not in the evening, but it's okay. And I think it goes really well with Yom Kippur. And you take these vows, let me finish them first. So only 1 meal a day. You can drink if you want. No intoxicants, no perfume, and no jewelry. So whatever you have already in, you know, or on, and leave it on. So that goes against our attachment. And then this is for the Tibetan High Lamas, not to sit on high seats or very kind of expensive beds and like this. So you can take a vow and you'll be able to keep it because there's no danger that you will be sitting on high thrones and very expensive beds, like with animal skin and all this, they talk about this. Yeah, so these are these 8 vows. Have I forgotten one? I think I got it pretty much. So you take them for 24 hours. If you want to take them, you're very welcome. I will not explain the ceremony. We will just read it. You don't have to say the words because otherwise it takes too much time. So that will be at 7:30. Otherwise, the rest will be more or less about forgiving, about developing positive attitudes, about, you know, the discussion group tomorrow, what is the problem with anger, where you share with each other why you think there is a problem with anger, not just the anger of the others, but also your own. And then for the silence, we keep silence starting from the last meditation this evening until what, 4:30 tomorrow? Yeah, breaking silence, manager talk, Dana books. Until 4:30 tomorrow. I really like the Yom Kippur retreat course or weekend or days because that's the only retreat that people, or the only time people are not running out and wanting to go home. You know? So you make all this effort to come here. It's a nice place, you think? Here? Yeah. You make all this effort to come here, but then you can't wait to go back home. I don't know where this urge comes from because I also have it. Yeah, I also have it. It's this thing that let's get out of here. Although it's really beautiful. But Yom Kippur we can really finish like in peacefully, and because you have to wait until you can drive again, and so it's quite nice. But if there's no outside kind of condition that forces you to do it, then the urge is too strong. We tried it in Austria at one point. And I said, look, let's have a cup of tea before everybody goes home. No way. Yeah, so this is what we will do. As I said, if you have questions, then whatever I'm saying, then please write them down, put them in the box. I will try to answer them. Okay, so the first topic that I wanted to talk to you about was like that we share with each other the strategies that we have when we are not well. So sadness, depression is not really what is called a negative emotion, but it's definitely also not a happy emotion. And sadness is not a negative emotion. It can be used in a very good way. We always want to go away from sadness. But actually sadness is very helpful because it gives us, if you have the courage, it gives us the energy to look, hey, what is wrong? It's an indicator that there's something wrong. Also, sadness or suffering is making us reach out for help, which makes a very good connection with other people. We allow them to help us. You see, connection with people who are always well and always happy, it's nice, but it's very superficial. It doesn't really go deep. But when we look, like the real friends that we have, is these people that show us their sorrow. They show us when they come to us when they need help. And it's actually quite a pleasure. It's actually quite nice to help them. And then the connection with them becomes quite deep. Much deeper. Then the heart of compassion and love comes out. Otherwise, we're just having a very good time. Which is nice also. I'm not saying, you should now meditate on being depressed or whatever. I'm not saying that. Please don't go to black and white. Whatever I'm saying here, by the way, there's always a yes but, which is totally the opposite. Because in the reality that we see, there is nothing that is really true. Meaning, there's nothing that is itself. Yeah? So everything is just relative. So then, you can always say when I say something, and you can always say yes but. So don't be so afraid of sadness. When it goes into depression, then it blocks you. That's not so good. And also depression is a kind of anger towards yourself, not being able to do what you want to do or not getting what you want. And then you go into this black hole. And here also, then it's very tight. You know what I'm talking about? Some people. Yeah? Like a lot of fear, a lot of disconnection. Yeah? Like not being able, then you're not able to connect to others. When you're depressed, there's no way you can help others. Although that would be the best remedy actually, because it brings you out of that hole. Yeah? But then you can't connect to others. Then you need a lot of strength and a lot of courage and a lot of courage to dare to think that this is not you and you could be another person. But it's just an aspect. It's just an emotion. But we identify with these things. So then we start having problems. Yeah. So sadness is okay. It's not necessarily negative emotion. But we have. Can you help me a bit? Like negative emotions, like what? Maybe you got Luna. Maybe now you start your job here. So you write not very big, but also maybe we can make 2 columns. Yeah. Yeah, these 2, if they're not 3. Okay. Negative emotion. Just blurt it out. One thing is, I don't hear well, so there's echo in this room. So sometimes when somebody says something at the back, then somebody here has to say it, and somebody here has to say it, then maybe I understand. So, don't worry if I have to ask 2 or 3 times, what did you say? Okay.
Guilt.
Huh?
Guilt.
Guilt. Okay. Guilt.
Pain.
Pain. Pain?
Pain.
Okay. I'm not saying right or wrong.
Emotional pain.
Emotional pain is a negative emotion in your eyes. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just telling me what you think a negative emotion is.
Regret.
Because then I see people who don't really work with this, we put the label negative emotion to many things that it is not. But so I'm not saying it is not. Pain is just something we don't want to have, but it's not necessarily negative.
Jealousy.
Huh?
Jealousy.
Jealousy. Oh, yeah, this is a real loser emotion. Yeah, because it doesn't take anything away from the other person, and you can't enjoy your own things anymore. Yeah. Blame. Okay. Aggression. Anger.
Hostility.
Huh?
Hostility.
I didn't understand.
Hostility.
Hostility. Yeah. Okay. It all goes into the category of aggression, but it's okay. Just whatever comes to your mind. Yeah. Shame.
Anxiety.
Huh?
Anxiety.
Okay.
Revenge.
Okay.
Frustration.
Huh?
Frustration.
Okay, you can be the translator. Frustration. Okay. Anything else?
Fear.
Fear.
Fear and hate.
Okay?
Loneliness.
Loneliness. Loneliness, yep. Okay, anything else? Huh?
Sorrow.
Sorrow. Grief, sorrow.
Regret.
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 Impatience.
You get a big shock, you know, when I go into the Buddhist view of these things. Regret, okay?
Impatience.
Negative emotion. Now let's look at regret. You really think it's a negative emotion, regret? I'm talking about negative emotions, okay? Let me maybe define. I was a bit cruel. I didn't give you the definition of negative emotion. A negative emotion is something that makes you tight, narrow. That's one aspect, but that's not the only one. And it distorts reality. Okay? It distorts reality, makes your mind unsubdued and unpeaceful. Okay? But especially that, it exaggerates, it distorts reality, especially that one. Yeah. So with regret, it's not, usually people think whatever feels pleasant, that's a positive emotion, and whatever feels unpleasant is a negative emotion. Yeah? But one actually talks about negative emotions when it leads to more suffering. Then it becomes a negative emotion. When it exaggerates the situation that is actually there, then we start calling it a negative emotion. And especially when it leads to more happiness, to more suffering. So, regret?
I think in a way, when you're ashamed or you want to change things that you cannot change anymore, and you take it with you, in a way, yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Then it goes into guilt and shame. Yeah.
So guilt and shame.
Guilt and shame. Yeah, and even those, so it's also good to see that, again, also this is not black and white, you know. Even if I feel very ashamed and very guilty and it blocks me for a while, but somehow something beneath it, my intelligence or something comes up and says, I'm sick and tired of feeling guilty, and then maybe I sit down and say, what can I do about this? And then I go, I have to change. So I don't have to feel regret or guilt or shame anymore. So even hostility maybe not, but even anger or frustration, don't just throw all of it out. Don't think that if you become a spiritual practitioner, you're always peaceful, and you're always smiling, and you always say yes to everybody. You always do what other people ask you to do. It's not like that. If somebody wants to exploit you and take advantage of you, you say, no, sorry, I'm not going to do that. You know? Somebody wants you to help them kill somebody, you say, no, I'm not going to do that. And also the frustration, you know, it can be, because what it is, it's just adrenaline, actually. It's just chemicals in our brain. Yeah, we make it far too flimsy, the whole thing. So it's okay to use these first moments, but then not to, as you say, you know, it doesn't become obsessive. Not so that it doesn't eat into us. Okay? Anything more? Anger we have, I think. Yeah? Hate.
Offended.
Huh?
Offended.
Anger?
Offended.
Offender? Yeah? Ego. Yeah, that's the main one. That's the main one. The ego itself, no, but holding it for true, believing that it's true and thinking, I have to satisfy the thing because it exists, the thing that I call ego, and therefore, no matter what I do to others, but first, me first. That one. Yeah, that one creates all the other ones, because that one doesn't see anymore the needs of other people. Okay, I miss one big section in these. Restlessness?
Attachment.
Huh? Attachment, exactly. Desire and attachment. You see, First is this believing in an I, that I need this and I don't want this.